Hi guys, I haven't been here for a while because it's a lot going on. And as you see, Dracarys is in cage because she's misbehaving very bad, and I don't want her to... Oh my god, Dracarys. Yes, she's not happy that I locked her, but I have no other option. It's just impossible to record anything when she's outside because she tries to destroy my equipment. She tries to eat things that she shouldn't eat, like chocolate, or she tries to jump into my cup of coffee. Yeah, so I'm really sorry, but it is what it is. So I haven't been here for a while, and now I'm finally back, and it was a lot of going on, and I will make a separate video about it when things will get more clear. And today I want to get back to the tutorial. Today's video I want to make about refactoring. Finally, I know I promised you in a few last videos that we will finally do refactoring, but now when I got back after 1 month and I looked at my code and I was like, what the heck? So now I want to make it look a bit more tidy, and that's what we're gonna do today. Okay, here is our project. As you see, I upgraded the shell and VS Code, and let's start all servers. We start our main server. We will start our PeerJS server, and in the end our client. And as you see, something is still working, and as you see, we still connect and stream our video, and it's finally summer weather in Bulgaria, and you can see it's so much sun at my apartment. So my camera can't really... Oh, now it's better. Dracarys definitely has something to say. Let's start with simple stuff. We have few buttons that look almost the same. They have almost the same styles. If you, let's say, open our components and our join, you can see we have this button tag with bunch of styles, and we repeat it all over our project. Here it's again button with same styles. The difference is just that here we have SVG icon, and in the join button we have just the text. Dracarys really wants to be in the center of attention. I'm sorry for this back vocal on my videos. Let's refactor our button. Let's create a generic component for all buttons, and we will use it instead of the hard-coded JSX markup. Let's create another folder here. Let's call it common. Means we will use it all over the website, and we'll create a new file, button. where we have our classes, we will leave only classes that are common for all buttons. So we get rid of text Excel because we don't want text will be big everywhere. Here where we have this specific padding, we will also get rid of it and we'll do more common padding. If we want to customize our styles, we can just add class name to the button component when we use it and add any custom classes that we want. So now let's try to use our button. See, our button looks the same as before, and now we can replace it in other buttons as well. Here it's a share screen button. Here it is. We have chat button. Still here. And another button that we use to send our message should be somewhere here in chat input. Yeah. And we have here this type. We can also add the type to our props. By default it will be submit. Submit button reset. Okay. Can you hear that? That's how I'm working every day. Oh yeah, and on click should be non-required parameter. Type is missing. Okay, type will also be like this. And our button is working. Do we have buttons somewhere else? No. We replaced all buttons with our custom component. So if we want to change the color of our button to green, let's say, then we need to change the class only in one component, not everywhere. The next thing I want to change is our room context. As you see, it's huge now. It's 230 lines, and we have all our logic in it. We have chat reducer, we have peer reducer that we're using here and doing some stuff with it, removing and adding and changing data. We could create 2 more contexts for the parts of our application. Like, for example, we have chat. Let's create a chat context and let's move all logic that we have for our chat to this file. Peekaboo! So, our context. Let's create 2 new files. First, user context. chat context. So let's start with user context. So here we will keep our logic related with users. Let's say we have here this username state, and we also create user ID here and save it to local storage. This logic is good to move to user context and separate it from our room context. Let's do it. Another thing we're gonna move is user ID, where we create it. Let me find here.
Let's create the same state for our user ID.
And here we will use local storage first to check if we have a user ID saved, and if we don't have, then it's gonna be our UID library. We need our random ID generator, so we will just copy this and call it here, and we will pass our user ID here, and we basically don't even need this set user ID for now, I think. Yeah. So how do we get an access to these values? We should wrap our application in the user provider the same way as we did it here with room provider. So we're gonna wrap it here, and as you see, we already have room provider here, and we're gonna use our user ID in our room provider, and it means that a room provider should be inside of the user provider. And now let's replace our username and user ID here with values from user provider. This we don't need anymore, and we can get rid of this. And what do we want to do is just use our data from user context. and where we have username, it's here, and where we have the user ID, we just get rid of this. We don't need saved ID, me ID, and we don't need this. We just use user ID. And the thing I forgot in our user provider is this one. We should set item, when we create our random user ID, we should save it to local storage. So let's do this. Now let's check if it's working. It's not. Okay, you can see we have set username here and we pass it in our room provider. We don't need it here anymore because we don't have it in room context, but we use this set username somewhere. Let's find it. We use it in our name input, and we still refer to room context, but we just replace it with user context here. Get rid of room context and it should be fine. And it complains about our chat context that it has no code inside, it's just a Typescript compiler error. Let's just create something in it. Let's just copy from user context. It does work. Let's check if we can change the name. Yeah, and also let's try to delete our user ID from local storage, user ID and username. And let's join again. Okay, I went crazy and I did it for the username, but I didn't do it for the user ID, of course. Okay. Now we have both. Let's try one more time. We have our auto-generated random user ID, and we can add our username, and it saves to local storage. So that part is working, and we got rid of all this logic in our room context. I see these constants. It's not good to keep it here. Let's create a new file. Instead of importing and exporting it from our room context provider, we will just use it directly from the file we created. take a look what we have here in our room context, what we could move to chat. Of course, it's all the imports for our chat, reducer, actions, types. Then this reducer as well we move to chat, and import use reducer, send message function, and add message, and add history, and toggle chat. We move it to the chat context. We are not deleting it right now, we're just moving it here. Or we can delete this one. And here are add message and get message event listeners. As you see here, we don't have an access to room ID, so we will change it a little bit. We will pass room ID to our function as an argument, and author as well. Let's see what we expose in our values. Here in room context, let's say we have chat, toggle chat and send message. Nice. And I think this username we shouldn't expose here in these values. Because we take it from user context already. Oh, here it is. Here we take it from room context, but we'll fix it. Username should be taken from user context. Okay. Everything else seems fine. So now, when we have our chat context, where we move the most of chat logic, we can do the same thing that we did with user context. We will wrap our application, but not the entire application. If you take a look on our app, we use chat only on the room page. We don't use it on the join page. We don't use it anywhere else. So we could use our chat provider only here in the room. And let's just wrap it here. Do I export it? Export chat. Oh yeah, I see. I made a typo. So we just want to use our chat provider in our room. If we open room, take our chat from the room context, I don't know why she sounds like she's dying. And this toggle chat, I think we also have to move this action to our chat context. Oh, we already moved it, yeah. Sorry. So we just move it here. And our WS doesn't really change now, so here we can fix just that username and delete WS. So yeah, we got rid of the warning. Yeah, and here we replaced our toggle chat and chat, and we take it from chat context. Let's check if it works. Yeah, we still can toggle. And we have bunch of components here for chat that also use stuff from room context, and we replace it with chat context as well. And in chat input we send message, chat context. Yeah. And now in room context we just delete types, actions, chat reducer here as well. Anything else with the word chat here? No. Now let's take a look if it works here. Yeah, it works, but something is wrong with our name. I know, we changed the function here. One moment. Yeah, we have to pass in our send message room ID and user. So in our chat input we need our author ID and our user ID, and we will get them from two different contexts. So we send message. Now, if we send a message, it has our name and everything is fine. If we open our chat and start typing and sending messages, we can see this warning about the key that we need to have in every list, every array. So let's add keys for our chat messages. We could use the key. The key should be in unique. Our messages, they don't have an ID and unique IDs, so we should generate it from the information that we already have. And as we could have, in theory, two messages that were sent at the same millisecond, we need something else. Dracarys, could you please shut up? We could use something else. For example, our message author. Or anonymous. And now let's check if we still have the warning. No, we don't have the warning. Great. And And another thing, oh no, we can't just duplicate, we need our incognito, and let's join to our room with another browser instance. And now we again have this warning, but now for our videos. So we need to add some kind of identifier for our videos as well. So we could use this peer ID as a unique identifier for our key, but to use it we have to add it to our reducer. And as you see now, our peer action, when we add all users, adds only username. Let's add user ID here as well. Peer ID. And in our reducer, we will also add our peer ID. And here in our participants in room context, we also add peer ID. And I actually feel that we need to move it to our type. Where do we have our types? Chat. Okay, let's do new. Now here where we have our list of videos, we can finally add a key, and this key will be just our peer ID. And let's refresh the page. Okay, it doesn't exist because our peer state has no ID, and we have to add it here as well. Okay, I guess we will get some more errors now. No? Fine. And now we got rid of this warning, but I think there was something else in room that we could refactor. So one more thing that we could fix here in our room is this one. We are using our peer ID to check for who is streaming the video and such stuff. But as we have now our user context and we have user IDs there, would be easier just get it from there and replace it everywhere. User ID and user ID here, so we don't have this me dependency, but we have a user ID dependency now. And let's find all occurrences of our me. So do we have more? Oh. And yeah, we could go even further and look for this me ID construction that we used before in other files. For example, here in our chat bubble we have it as well, and I suggest we again get rid of this me and import our user ID. And just use it here. And we have somewhere else our me ID. It's where we're changing our name. We could also just replace it with user ID. So here we cleaned up a little bit our code. And another thing what I want to fix is our types. If you remember, we used any in few places. So let's find here, it's not what we need. So we have any in our context. We have any, and that's a bad practice in Typescript to use any. We have to write some types for our context. Let's start with the chat context, and let's say it will be and now let's try to replace any with our chat value and see how many errors we're gonna get. And we got some, yeah. What property chat does not exist? On type chat value new. Oh, it's because of our new. We need to provide a default state. Have our default chat value, and we got rid of any in our chat context. Good. Let's do the same for user context. I don't know how she has so much energy for this screaming, honestly. But this video will be very special because I already started to have a headache. Okay, I will release you or not. I don't know, she doesn't look too friendly. I mean, it's spring for them, it's like time to to find a partner, to mate, and she has no partner, and she goes crazy about it. So that's the reason of this behavior. Okay, our user context. Let's do the same with it. We do not have errors. And now for our room context. That will be the most complicated one, because we have quite a lot of things here to export, to provide to our application. So let's check if we have errors. I am sure we have. Okay, this already is not happy with the string, because now it's undefined and null. Okay, let's do it undefined, and here we do it undefined. Or we could just do it, sorry, we just do this way and get rid of it at all. And now ID, set room ID. I see it here. Okay, so we have to do it this way, maybe. Here. So we are trying to get our room ID here, but we're not exporting it actually, but we should. So you see how TypeScript helps to find errors in our code. And it's not happy with the undefined. Okay, let's do it defined. And here we have to fix as well. If there is no ID that we could assign, we will assign an empty string. And now this strange error that username doesn't exist on type. So we don't have here a username. Let's check if it will work. Yeah. So you can see how adding a type helped us to find few errors in our code, few inconsistencies. That's why it's very bad practice to have any in your code. And now we fixed it, and it seems working. And it has few other warnings here. Let's fix them as well. Empty object pattern, what does it mean? Okay, another empty object pattern that we want to get rid of, and it complains about some dependencies of our use effect, but I guess it's for this one, but I wanted to leave as it is. We can just ignore it actually. Click fix. Up. Yeah. So that's it. We refactored our code, we added some types for our context files, and now it looks better and it's more stable, and if you want to scale it, if you want to add more functionality, it will be easier to do. Say thanks to Dracarys for this back vocal on my tutorial. I hope she will get back to the normal state soon. And thank you very much for staying with us. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, and wait for our new videos.